The kingdom is being revealed to you, and this is what it's like. It's small. It's unseen. It's inconspicuous. It's humble. It's not flashy. It's not ostentatious. It's even a little bit ordinary. And yet, it will produce this reality that makes space for everything and everyone. And I wonder sometimes if we, like the people in Jesus' day, are looking for the big show. Do we think that the coming kingdom comes in the flashy and the successful and the eye-catching and the obvious? Or are our ears and eyes open to the way that the kingdom is always coming in the humble and the unseen, in the small? For instance, are you discouraged when you are not rescued from circumstances with a tremendous show of God's power and force? Or are you able to thank him for the ways that the kingdom continues to come in the small and ordinary ways? How do you measure who and what matters? Is it just the important, flashy people that matter? Is that the kind of person that you want to be, to have influence and recognition? Or are you in tune with the ways that the kingdom is always available through the small and humble things, and sometimes the smallest and most humble people? And finally, what are ways that maybe you've experienced mustard seed moments? Moments that you didn't really notice, but then they ended up growing into something more. When I was a little girl, I had a pen pal. I'm not sure how I got this pen pal. It was probably like from the back of Highlights for Kids or something like that. Anyway, my pen pal lived in Addis Ababa. And I thought that was the coolest place. I loved to write it on the envelope, and I loved to say it in my mouth, right? Like Addis Ababa. And I always looked forward to that light airmail paper that my letter would come on. A few years later, after we were not writing letters anymore, I had a really good friend who ended up moving to Ethiopia and lived in Addis Ababa, and I would write her letters and support her financially. And then a few years after that, we decided that we wanted more children and that we were going to add to our family through adoption. And it was really important to me that I have a connection to the country that we adopted from. And as we did our research and sort of followed the steps toward which country would be right for us, we ended up deciding on Ethiopia. And so 14 years ago, I headed to Addis Ababa, and we brought our 2 boys home. Now, those of you who are parents know that one of the ways that you are taught many things is through your children. The kingdom comes through our children, right? Because if you have not experienced yet that you are woefully inadequate for the job of parenting, it will come and you will be on your knees praying for those children. These children have also taught me patience and self-control, all those fruits of the Spirit, fruits of the kingdom that we're supposed to grow in us. Thank you, Ketis and Moshe, for those fruits. Patience, self-control, kindness, forbearance, forgiveness. They have brought the kingdom in me. They've also brought lots of joy and laughter. Retrace your steps. Take stock of where you've come from and the small moments that maybe to begin with were unnoticed, but have led to something bigger. This kingly representative does not come in Superman tights to save the day. He comes hidden, camouflaged in the ordinary as an embryo, a baby. Like leaven swelling in the dough, God comes swelling in a tummy. The kingdom of God is like leaven, hidden, unseen, incognito, but rising. Where could the coming of the kingdom be hidden in our lives and world? Maybe it's in ordinary, commonplace things. Do we have an understanding of spiritual things or of God that he is just available and present to sort of those unembodied or disembodied things in our lives, like what we think or believe or how we feel? Do we believe that God is there when our minds are at rest or we feel peace, but not when we feel other ways or experiencing other things? Or that God is there when we believe all the right things and can put all of our theological ducks in a row? Do we extract God from the everydayness of our lives? Or are we open to seeing his kingdom in the chaos of family life? Or in the loneliness of single life? Are we open to experiencing the kingdom when we stumble out of bed for coffee in the morning, have to start our car at -40, when we bake bread or plant a garden? I don't think it's a mistake that Jesus uses these everyday things to tell us what the kingdom is like. He is pointing to the fact that everyday experiences are, in fact, where the kingdom is revealed. That's where the kingdom comes. I wonder too if the hidden places in our lives are maybe the places we should pay the most attention to. Are you paying attention to the small, unseen things in your own life? What small, hidden acts of faithfulness are you being called to do? Cooperate with the hidden kingdom that's starting to come in the world or that's being revealed in the world? You know, I think real change, real growth, real maturity often happens in secret. It's the acts that go unnoticed that produce the real change. So what small or hidden things do you maybe need to add or give up? Do you need to add quiet? Add prayer? Do you need to add community? Do you need to add service? Do you need to add rest? What things do you need to give up? We're heading into Lent, and some of you have been in traditions that practice Lent by giving something up. Maybe there's some small thing that you can give up, not necessarily a bad thing. Maybe it's just like the glass of wine you have at the end of the day or the cup of coffee you have in the morning. But maybe as you give that up, you can experience how the kingdom has the potential to burgeon, to bring new life in you. Our end is also embedded in our beginning. Everything was started in him. It's all going to be summed up in him. Genesis makes it clear that we were created out of goodness and love, and we were created for goodness and love. It's the beginning, and it's the purpose. And Revelation, the last book of the Bible, makes it clear that there will be a time when that original purpose is completely restored to creation. Completely. It's going to happen. Everything necessary for redemption is already here. It's just not what we expected. It's hidden. It's small. It's still being revealed. But the seed is planted and the yeast is in the flour and the kingdom is coming. So all that's left for us to do is trust. We can be a part of it right now or not, but whether we are has no bearing on whether it comes. This is what Robert Capon says. And even your negative responses, even your pointless resistances to the kingdom, interfere only with your own convenience, not with its working. Dallas Willard says, to become a disciple of Jesus is to accept now that inversion of human distinctions that will sooner or later be forced upon everyone by the irresistible reality of his kingdom. We heartily join his kingdom conspiracy now to overcome evil with good. Are you listening? Listening is an act of trust. Will you trust? Because there's no need to earn this kingdom. You don't have to pull up your socks or clean up or find a bigger, better, more sparkly life. In fact, this kingdom seems to thrive best in small places, in hidden places, in desert places, maybe even in long winters and long nights. Your seemingly insignificant mustard seed of a life is just the place where this kingdom could flourish. What if you trusted your whole life to this kingdom? Maybe then your life could also become a parable, a story with a wrinkle that makes people sit up and take notice and wonder, what's going on there? Maybe your life could reveal the kingdom.